Welcome to RazorBranding Podcast with Jackie Russo. To learn more about how to improve your brand, visit brandrusso.com.
Hi, welcome to Entrepreneur Day. Today is the day that we celebrate all things entrepreneurial. We're going to talk to entrepreneurs about their journey. We're going to talk to people who provide resources for entrepreneurs to help them be more successful in their journey. And right now, y'all, we collectively, me and you, are so lucky to have Dan Jurek with us because he's both. He's an entrepreneur himself and he works with entrepreneurs. Dan, welcome to the day.
Hi, Jackie. Great to be here.
Good to have you. So, tell us all, Dan, a little bit about the work you do and the entrepreneurial journey you've gone on to be able to have the company that you have.
Well, I am the founder and director of the Pax Renewal Center. It's here in Lafayette, Louisiana. It's a counseling center. We have psychotherapists here, master's level psychotherapists. And, we are here to really serve the Lafayette community, the Acadiana community, in helping people not just deal with mental illness, but to really live the lives that they really want to, and where they feel stuck, try and get them unstuck.
Right. And I feel like the work that you do obviously is so important to the community. And you and I had the opportunity to talk on a podcast a little while back about how much more important mental health is coming out through the pandemic because of how affected people were. What have you seen in terms of the entrepreneurial community and the changes they've gone through in the time that you've been serving entrepreneurs?
There's been a huge change. I think the pandemic has opened up a lot of people's eyes that they can be entrepreneurs,
Right.
that they don't have to rely on a company or a big box store or something to help them make a living, that they can begin to do it on their own. And to me, that's exciting. To me, entrepreneurs, I would rather work 80 hours for myself than 40 hours for somebody else.
But I think you summed it up. That's the mindset that you have to have, because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, there's no 40-hour work week.
No. From the beginning, I even set my mind to changing from my career from Catholic education, being a Catholic educator and administrator, to private practice. It went from, working at the high school to working at the high school, driving to New Orleans, going to grad school. And so it has been 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Yeah.
Right. Well, and to me, I laugh at myself because I never intended to be an entrepreneur. I was working as marketing director for a regional company and very successful, happy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And once that seed was planted, that was the only way to really grow and accumulate wealth, make more money. I did it also because I already had a kid and was pregnant with our second kid. And I thought, and this is where you're going to laugh, Dan, that I would have more time. I was like, oh, I'm going to start my own company so I can have more time.
Isn't that the lie, right? Hey, you can have more time if you just go into business for yourself.
Right.
People even tell me, oh, well, you work for yourself so you can take off anytime you want. What? What world are you living on?
I haven't been off in 21 years.
You can just make your schedule and work it. No, that's
right.
not how it works.
Right. No, I work more nights and weekends now than when I was bartending my way through college.
Oh my goodness, right? It's just
absolutely.
But again, I would rather be doing this, as much as I loved working for the high school and working even at the university here. I love working for my clients,
right?
But really taking the bull by the horns and doing it myself.
Right. So does that mean that entrepreneurs are born, made, or both?
I will tell you that I really believe entrepreneurs are made. I was not born to do this. I almost failed out of high school, almost failed out of college. It took a lot of work to get to this place.
Right.
I didn't know how to add numbers. I just did not. And so I know we'll talk about this, but I did not have entrepreneurial mindset. I wanted to be a good counselor.
Right.
I wanted to be a good therapist, but that wasn't enough. If I didn't take on the mind of a CEO, right? If I didn't take on the mind of someone who's running a company, even when it was just me, myself, and I was never going to go anywhere.
Right.
And I
Right.
was not going to reach the folks that I wanted to reach or help the people I wanted to help. And I was going to be living in poverty. Because in our business, the thing we hear the most, right, is, do you have a sliding scale? Can you work for free? Can you just, can we be your pro bono person? And no, I will give my money away, but I've got to make it first.
Right.
Right. I'm still responsible and the steward for my family and my children and the company. It has to make money before I can give it away. And I'm very happy to give it away.
Right.
And,
No.
and so it was a mindset that had to really shift in me. I will say that it was made. I took courses. I invested in the entrepreneurial mindset when everyone else was investing in knowing more theories and practices of counseling.
And I love that. I love that recognizing that might not be a skill set you were born with or had already developed. So you went through the process of educating yourself and getting training and being a lifelong learner to develop that ability.
Yeah. And so I have 2 master's degrees and then a life PhD in running a business.
The life PhD is the most expensive education you can get.
Yeah, because it starts with a lot of mistakes and bad decisions. And yet, I'm so blessed. I feel like I had the right people come into my life, suggest this program. 2014, I went crazy and I invested in 4 days with Tony Robbins at a business mastery, but it turned my mindset around.
Really?
Yeah, I was starting to begin to think like I'm running a business, but I really got the mindset that if you really want to serve people, you've got to see this, even running the business, as a spiritual work. It'll challenge your strengths, it'll challenge your weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
and it will force you to grow.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when you think about and you call them mistakes, I would think of them as learning lessons. But
Learning
when you
opportunities.
learning opportunities, when you think of those missteps that you might have made to give you an opportunity to grow, what about how those affected you later? I mean, did you have to spend some time kind of dwelling in it and thinking, "Oh, that was a horrible misstep," or did you pretty quickly figure out the lesson and think, "Okay, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but I got this other thing from it."
Yeah, that I didn't dwell on the mistake, though that the perfectionist in me wants to do that. But when it came to this, I could either get bogged down. So my first real growing opportunity, Jackie, was I started the business and nobody told me about paying quarterly taxes.
Oh, that's a big one.
It was a big one.
Yeah.
And so making all this wonderful money my very first year and come to hiring a accountant for my April taxes. Have you paid quarterly taxes? No, I haven't. Okay.
What's that?
So then 3 days later, he gives me a bill of $8,000. I'm like, hello. So I could have either gone down a very dark hole and say, okay, let's shut the building. No. From that point on, every week I set aside enough money in a special savings account to pay the taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since then, I've been able to pay my taxes. And as my dad said, if you're paying taxes, be fortunate, you're making money.
Right. Right. That's a good thing.
Now, I'd like to pay less, but
Sure. We all would.
But
We all
yeah,
would.
I mean, and all my mistakes of not finding Brand Russo soon enough and investing in other people who could not do the job or did it poorly when it came to websites and other things. And but again, I learn what I successfully find out what I don't want to do.
Right.
Right. I've had mistakes or growing opportunities and hiring and letting people go, of who I really want to work with us. Those are all great learning opportunities. And so I come from an educator's background, right? In school, we learn the lesson and then we're given the test. In life, in business, you're given the test and then you got to figure out the lesson.
You
And I
know,
love that when I heard that. It's like,
I had
yes,
not heard that before, but man, does that really sum up so many entrepreneurial opportunities to learn.
right. And if you're not going to learn the lesson, that the growing opportunity that you may not have passed, uh, but the learning is there for you,
Right,
especially now. Like,
right,
my another phrase I stole from somebody. I wish I could be this clever, but I don't have the resources for a lot of things. I don't have the resources for running QuickBooks or payroll and marketing and all that, but I can be resourceful, right? And the smartest leaders out there put really good people around them.
right,
And even in my business, here we have really good people at Pax Renewal Center.
right.
They are their own energy. They are their own engines. And I can rely on their creativity and their knowledge where mine is lacking.
Right. During this time of the great resignation, how do you make sure that you're retaining those great people and recruiting the new great people as you continue to grow and evolve?
That again has been that's been a growing opportunity. Um, it's got to be a fit. I don't know how to say it, but it's got to be a fit. It can't just be somebody who thinks they would do well here.
Right.
I want them to feel, at least on some sense, what I feel is this is a mission. It's not just a job. It's not a hobby. Heck no.
Right.
Um, but some of the things I've done is hire slow and fire fast.
Yes.
I want to take my time, get to know somebody, have them get to know us, maybe even go on a short term. Let's try this for 4 months, 6 months. And if it ain't working from the beginning, boom. I've wasted, yeah, I'm going to say it. I've wasted a lot of time putting energy in people that could not rise up to the need.
Right.
And if it's not there, let it go. The other thing that we have done just recently, Jackie, is we have tapped into the wealth of energy that is at UL in the counseling center and in the counseling program. And we brought interns in who are loving this work, who are already trained in some of this work, who are passionate about this work, and they don't want to make mistakes. They're still trying to please the professor.
Right.
So I get to take advantage of that, right? Because I remember those days in grad school. You just wanted to please the professor.
Yeah. The grade depends on it.
Right. But it's that kind of thing. And I've really been patient. I've let people come to the practice rather than go after people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I planted seeds with folks. I've said, if ever you're interested, let me know. But then I've let it go and just kept my hand to the plow and waited for them to either say, hey, is that still open? Is that still an opportunity?
Right.
And then we figure it out.
Right. What's interesting when you think about the way you do your hire slow, fire fast, and the way that you prioritize, getting to know these interns and really building up. That's how every business that I know that's successful really kind of does it. So how do you order personality, experience, ability, skill set, mindset? Where do you prioritize when you look at how you're going to build your business with your recruits?
With my recruits, like there has to be, first of all, a personality connection. And that doesn't mean we're the same personality. Matter of fact, some of the best people here are different personalities than me, right?
Right.
I can be kind of the spontaneous one, and Candace is like, oh, hold on, let's kind of think this through, right? And so first, I'm looking for personalities that there's a mutual respect for.
Right.
right? I don't want people just coming in, and this takes time, as you know, Jackie, but I want people to come in and be willing to challenge me enough to say, hey, Jurek, what are you doing? What are you thinking here? The other thing, I want to be sure that these people know their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to say it, but in every field, you've got people that will throw a label on themselves, even have a degree, and they don't know what the heck they're doing.
Right.
I want not just someone who's passed and gotten a degree, but I want them to have learned or are willing to learn the profession and work so hard that the profession becomes an artistic expression,
Right.
right? It becomes an art form. And then I want someone who is teachable.
Right.
If I have someone come in here and they know it all and they have been through grad school and they are 28 years old and they know everything, you don't have a chance with me. If you're not teachable, if you're not willing to be in a mentored position, go do it yourself or somewhere else.
Right. Right.
Because if you can't be part of the team but really be teachable, and I will say one of my greatest shifts over the last just couple of years is I'm becoming more of a supervisor, more of a trainer than a clinician. I can't do this forever, but if I can train 5, 10 people, 15 people to be their best version of themselves as a therapist, then I've extended my range and my longevity.
Right. Well, I think it ties into that entrepreneurial E-Myth mindset of when you can stop working in your business every day and start working on your business, which you're doing by hiring people, training them in your process, your way, and then allowing them to do their jobs. That's how you grow. Otherwise, it's just you doing everything all the time.
Right. And along with that, I mean, I am so grateful to be here, but it has been 18 years in the process of having a license and starting Pax Renewal Center. It was 5 years in the process of getting my degree and my license, and it was 15 years of having a first career. I didn't just get here, right? And so the other thing for me was having a vision of what I wanted and knew where I was going rather than be stuck where I was. So right from the get-go, I know I've told you this, Jackie, I decided to have this not Dan Jurek and Associates or not Dan Jurek Counseling.
Right.
I wanted it to be bigger than me.
Right.
So I could somewhere fade into the sunset, but more importantly, that Pax was known as a center of help and that it's just not one person.
Right.
Because no one person is going to help everybody. And even the people that come to me, I really do believe they've come to me for a reason, but I still have to assess and discern if it's a right fit. Sometimes I know the best thing for me is to refer my client to one of our other therapists because it's a better fit. Right. So it's taken me a long time to get to this place. And only in the last couple of years, really since we began talking just a couple of years ago now, have I really made now the power shift to get out of working always in the business and be working on the business. And it's a habit that is hard to break.
So hard. And even if you're not a control freak, it's just hard because there's fear of letting go and worrying that it won't be successful. And that's income. It has to be successful.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that you just said that really, I think, resonated with me on the entrepreneurial journey is about having learned and grown and developed enough that you can refer away. I think there is a certain point you get to in your entrepreneurial journey when you hire your first employee, right? So now you're a company because there's 2 employees. And then when you start paying those tax bills, and then maybe when you buy a building, there's all these major milestones. But to me, the biggest one to really indicate you've gotten to a certain place of success is when you can say no to business. When you're not so hungry, desperate, fearful that you can say, this isn't a good fit. I'm not going to twist myself like a pretzel to fit you. I'm going to acknowledge that I have a lane and I'm going to stay in it. So how hard is it to get to that place?
It's very hard. It really takes another person in your ear challenging that. If that's your goal, then you've got to either have, for me, a counselor and a coach and other people who are in my close circle challenging me on that. Especially when I make it, like an intentional commitment. Now I want people to help me give that up. Right. But it also then takes a discipline. I've trusted that I don't, and I said this a little earlier, I've trusted from the beginning that I don't need to see everyone, Jackie.
Right.
I just know that the right people will see me.
Yes.
And when that happens and that becomes the flow, then I'm not competing with all the other counselors in town.
Right.
There's plenty of us, and there's actually probably too many of us. But that's okay, right?
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
But I believe that if you went to somebody else, that's who you're supposed to see.
Absolutely.
And my other job is I got to know where along their journey they are. Maybe they're going to see somebody else to plow the field and scatter the seed and grow the plant. And my job is just to do the harvesting, right? Or
Right.
maybe my job is just to plow and plant and somebody else will do that. So
Right.
I think that's where that artwork comes in too, right? That artistic,
Right.
where I would be a good fit, but I know who would be a better fit.
Right. Right. And acknowledging in a way that you're not just dumping them. It's really the right choice for them. Dan, I am shocked to say that our time has already gone by. I could do this for hours. Thank you so much for taking the time today and talking to us about your entrepreneurial journey and the mindset that other entrepreneurs need for their journey. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Appreciate you, Jackie. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, Dan. And thank you to everyone who joined us to listen and watch and be a part of it and stick around. We've got another one starting in just a couple of minutes. So happy Entrepreneurs Day.
When the day is through.